Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Just lovely to have you along for the ride. Hope all the mothers had a wonderful Mother's Day. April, I see you in the chat already. Happy Mother's Day, April. I'm sure there's other mothers that listen to this program. You're the only one that I know. I know Babs. I don't know if you're a mom, Babs. I don't know. But happy Mother's Day to all the moms. I always like to acknowledge how awesome Eleanor Farzetta is and how much Eleanor Farzetta, my mom, was fantastic as a mom, especially when I was growing up, especially in the sports world, because my dad often wouldn't have, my dad was a coach for us, me and my brother, a lot of time. So we spent a lot of time with dad. It was great in the sports world. But Mom, I'll tell you right now, Eleanor Farzetta from Dundalk, Maryland, okay, just outside Baltimore, was not afraid to pick up a baseball bat and start hitting fly balls to my brother and I in the backyard or at the park or whatever. So I always appreciate that about my mom. My dad, I always like to say, for the most part, my dad taught me how to play sports. My mom taught me how to be a fan. So in the end, I think mom won because here I am. Not a professional athlete, but I hope all you guys treated your moms to a lovely Mother's Day weekend, especially a lovely Mother's Day. And with that, welcome into the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, brought to you by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. MyBookie.ag. Okay. How about AJ? Terrible segue, but stay with me. I have been on the AJ Brown bandwagon of fandom for quite some time now. I'm a big fan of A.J. Brown, both the player and the teammate. And during his media ice out of, 2+ weeks, where everyone was making up everything possible about what he is feeling, what he should say, when everyone was criticizing him for not saying anything, I thought it was a pretty easy code to crack, which is that he was not happy with everything going on, and anything he could say would only lead to more negativity. I believe the phrase I used at the time was he's got nothing nice to say, so he's saying nothing at all. Once again, he goes with the thumper mentality. Couldn't agree with that more. He did not compound the problem. However, him not speaking still compounded the problem. Why? I don't know. People just love to speculate on all that stuff. But nonetheless, he came out, and I thought he looked great on the other side of it, where he did address the media. He talked to them for 13 minutes, and all was right with the world. And then most recently, we hear this little story from Nick Sirianni about Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, and awful diva teammate A.J. Brown being available at the NovaCare complex for the incoming rookie class. Oh, my God. It's all about A.J. It's about A.J. Brown, the diva. Okay. A.J. Brown is trying to help out these young guys, and what I saw over the weekend is probably something that you saw over the weekend, but in case you didn't see it over the weekend, check out this text message that was sent to Ainias Smith, 5th-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, the day he was drafted. Now, this just came out because Smith held a little draft party at the house, okay? And the 5th-round pick, all friends and family are over there and all that jazz, right? And all the people come over to the house. And what happens? He gets drafted by the Eagles, and A.J. Brown texts him immediately. And this is what the text message says. For the people on the podcast, what's up, Ainias? Or Ainias. I'm still not sure what goes there. He didn't text this. This is now me in my own head. All right, what's up, Ainias? This is A.J. Brown. Congratulations, first of all. Put on your hard hat. Let's work! Exclamation point. And Ainias, here's what I love. Not only do I love the response, I love that he loved it. You see that? He didn't just like it. Smith loved it. And I love love. So I love that. And he hits it back. Appreciate you folks. Trust me, it's up. Can count on me. Now, and then finally, it must have been a long draft day because you can see right there, Ainias Smith's phone is on yellow. Boy, oh boy. Charge the phone, son. Look. This is small stuff to some people, but for me, I am fighting the battle. I am dying on A.J. Brown's a great teammate hill. That's what I'm going to die on that hill. I am a big fan of A.J. Brown. Can we stop with the diva stuff? Can we stop It's like so easy to label a wide receiver a diva. He is there in the offseason to help the rookies. He's texting the rookies immediately, and he has spoken up when a quarterback might want to be a little bit more to himself in Jalen Hurts. And that's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. I'm not putting down Jalen Hurts to raise up A.J. Brown. That's a guy that's looking around the locker room saying something needs to be said. I'm going to say it to his team. And ultimately, that's what I want in a football player. I know for people like me that talk into the microphone and play clips or show clips like that, pictures, whatever. It's always better when you do have a diva wide receiver because, oh my God, how much fun is that to break down? How much fun is that to talk about time and time again? I've told you guys before, I'll tell you again. When it comes to quarterback controversies, oh man, that is the finest entree that you could order at a media dining table. Oh man, a quarterback controversy? Whoa, we'll break that down to the nth degree. Right after that is a diva wide receiver. You give me a diva wide receiver on a team that looks like it's sinking, especially like the Eagles last year. Oh, man, that's a spicy meatball. Oh, that's delicious. But if it's not true, if it's not really there, then it's just fluff. And for me, the A.J. Brown stuff, the A.J. Brown stories, that's just fluff, man. I think the guy's a great teammate. I think the guy's a phenomenal teammate. I don't know any other player, by the way, also, that takes it on the chin for their own head coach. Nick's taking our back when he said that during the 13-minute press conference or media session in his locker room or at his locker. Oh, Nick took it on the chin for us. He said, that was a called play at the end of the Seattle game. That was us improvising. I'm sorry. I don't hear too many wide receivers just sticking with wide receiver. I don't hear too many players say, oh, no, the thing the coach said to bail me out. No, I'm going to bail him out. That wasn't his idea. That was us. So I would love for next year to start up. And the schedule comes out for the NFL Wednesday, by the way. I can't wait. I would love for when the Eagles kick off the season, September 6th in São Paulo, Brazil. I would love for that just to be the end of any A.J. Brown BS. Would love it. Would love for that to be the end of it. Just goes out there, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, We'll love all that. And then the Eagles just, they just cruise to a great season. I would love for the Eagles to just cruise through a great season. That'd be a beautiful thing, right? It'd be awesome. And put the drama behind them. What is it old saying? Save the drama for your mama? We'll see. But for me, that's the way I would love for it to happen. And I do think this Eagles team is going to be pretty damn stacked. So there's a good possibility of it happening. It is a tough blow to the Packers, blah, blah, blah. But we'll know more about that schedule when it does come out on Wednesday. So I saw that over the weekend, and I was giddy because I'm the guy that has been defending A.J. Brown. And to see him just go another step just to welcome in a rookie, beautiful thing. After already welcoming the rookies, or at least the story came out through Nick Sirianni last week, with A.J. Brown already being on hand. So applaud. A.J. Brown. Let's get to your Philadelphia Phillies. Before we get to the game, the whole game, they couldn't complete the sweep against the Miami Marlins yesterday, unfortunately. Both teams blew three-run leads. Zack Wheeler did not look good. Like I said, we'll get into all this, but there was something that happened yesterday that I had to do a double take. Rob Thomson was pissed off. I don't know if you guys were still maybe out to brunch or whatever, or having a late lunch or whatever for Mom's Day, and all that. But Rob Thomson in the second inning of yesterday's game was the most pissed I have ever seen Rob Thomson, and it happened with Christian Pache at the plate, and he's facing Braxton Garrett. He's down in the count. I think it was 0-2. It was an 0-2 count, and he fouls off the second pitch of the at bat. Christian Pache fouls it off his shin. He steps out of the bat. Now, he looked fine. He did. He looked fine. But he still got hit. And if you're the umpire, the guy got hit. And the umpire yesterday, Jeremy Griggs, knew that he got hit. So Christian Pache fouls the ball off his shin, steps out of the batter's box, does a little walk around, a little half swing, whatever. And then he starts to get back in the batter's box. And then right at 8 in the pitch clock era, he isn't looking up at the pitcher. He doesn't make eye contact, as they say, right? He didn't make eye contact. So he gets called for an automatic strike 3. You're out. So the Phillies start off the second inning with 1 out, essentially, automatically. And Rob Thomson at that point, camera pans over to him. You hear a little shouting, you see the umpire take the mask off, and he's yelling in the direction of the Phillies dugout. And Rob Thomson is like as red as his Phillies cap yesterday. And he is livid because home plate umpire Jeremy Riggs did not give Christian Pache time to say, hey, are you okay? So you fouled that off yourself. Are you all right? Instead, umpire Riggs looks at Rob Thomson and goes, I know he fouled it off himself, but he's fine. He's fine. He fouled it off himself, but he's fine. Strike three, he's out. Automatic. Wasn't making eye contact into the pitcher's eyes. Wasn't doing that, so he's out. Rob Thomson, I honestly expected him to run out and get thrown out of the game. I honestly did. All right. I might not file that under the diva conversation. No, not at all. That would have been totally appropriate. Oh, that would have been a little dramatic. Not at all. For as pissed as Rob Thomson was, I fully expected him, especially when the umpire said he fouled it off himself, but he was fine. Strike three, you're out. I fully expected Rob Thomson to get up and get in the umpire's face over that and get thrown out of the game. So after the game, Rob Thomson was still pissed at it. He gets, I don't know, I forget who asked the question. It might have been Todd Zalecki of MLB.com. But after the game, Rob Thomson, you can see that the question is being asked, and he just puts his head down like he was still pissed about it. Here's Rob Thomson on what happened.
With Pache, where you were,
well, he fouled a ball off his foot,
right?
And so I was not looking. All of a sudden, he calls him for, the time clock. He calls him out. Well, if you foul a ball off your foot, the umpire really should say, "Hey, are you okay?" Right? And they'll stop the clock. And then when he says, "Yeah, I'm okay," then they'll start back up. But it never turned off.
But nonetheless, little appearance by Michael B. and Ricky Bowe right there. That sound courtesy of NBC Sports Philadelphia, of course. You could tell after the game he was still pissed about it, and rightfully so. I mean, it's a one-run game. You never know what can happen, and won it bad. He was down 0-2. Christian Pache has been having himself a good series. He's been earning himself a little bit more playing time in this series, so all that's great. It pissed me off, too, watching it, because I just thought, hold on a second. Where's the hand up for time if you're either Christian Pache or Jeremy Riggs? I mean, I know that you want to save that time out if you're Christian Pache, maybe for later in the game, but no time like the present after you just fouled a ball off yourself. And you would think Riggs would just put his hand up, out of respect for a player that just fouled a ball off himself. Like, hey, everybody chill out for a second. We're just going to take a minute. We're good? You good? All right, let's get it going. And then start it up. It just seemed like very common sense. To me, if I had to say what the hell happened on that play, Riggs had a brain fart. That's the way I would describe it. I think the home plate umpire didn't really understand what was happening and just thought, let's get this going. And that was that. And I think if he had to do over again, maybe I should ask that player and just wait for a second. Everything good? Everything good. The only thing that would throw it off is which apparently did not happen, is if Riggs did say to him, are you good? But then Christian Pache, you saw as he was being rung up automatically, looked at Riggs and went, huh? Wait, seriously? Did you see? You're right there. No? All right. So he was a little confused. So that kind of pissed me off too. But that was the most pissed I've ever seen Rob Thomson. As for the rest of the game, Gregory Soto. I wasn't sure. So upon further review, so basically I watched the game, and then I was doing a crossover Locked On Sports postcast, right, with my man Grease down there in Miami, and we're doing a joint show. And I said, I don't know what would have happened if Soto's booty didn't get in the way of that Rivera single up the middle. And then so I do the postcast, and then I watched it again afterwards. That should have been a runner on third with 2 outs. I have no doubt after watching that a couple times, I was like, okay, hold on. Where are the fielders? And I think it was Sosa and Stott were right up the middle. So one of them is going to get the ball, step on second, fire to first, get the double play. You're going to have a runner on third with 2 outs. Then I watched to see how hard the ball was hit, and it would have been hit hard enough to be able to turn the double play. So if Gregory Soto isn't standing right there, if the ball doesn't hit him, essentially, you're getting a double play with a runner on third in that situation. Unfortunately, the ball hit off Gregory Soto and then trickled, would be a good word to describe it, into shallow right field as the winning run crossed the plate, and the Phillies failed to complete the sweep of the Miami Marlins. The Marlins break their 5-game losing streak. Zack Wheeler got beat up a little bit in this one, to say the least. And, I know a lot of people say you can't win them all. And I'm like, I understand that, but when you lose them, that doesn't mean I have to like it. And the way that game kind of played out yesterday, I hated it. Because it was such a tease. Two things. One, the tease. You get a 3-run home run by Nick Castellanos in the first inning where he pounced on a Braxton Garrett curveball that was flat as flat could be. And he just demolished this baseball to left center field, 408 feet. Phillies are up 3-0. Phillies up 3-0 with Zack Wheeler on the hill against the Marlins. That's a win. You're going to play this game 10 times. You're going to win that, 9 of them at the worst. And, of course, this was the 10th. And, so they had the 3-0 lead. Then Zack Wheeler just looked awful yesterday. He was getting pissed at Riggs for another reason, because I don't know if he felt like he's earned the corners or what, but he wasn't getting those calls yesterday. And I'm not saying Zack Wheeler is necessarily the guy that needs to get those calls. For instance, the example I brought up yesterday on the postcast was Jamie Moyer. Like, Jamie Moyer needed to get those corners. Like, and we're being honest here, right? Jamie Moyer needed to get those corners in his time as a Philly and his time as a Mariner. And when you're 75 years old, you deserve to get those corners. But Zack Wheeler yesterday didn't need those corners. I guess he thought he should have gotten them. After the game, we'll let you hear from the many questions that were asked to Zack Wheeler. But for the most part, he said he felt fine. He was just missing his spots. So what happens in that second inning, Sanchez ends up getting the ground rule double, RBI double. So all of a sudden, it's a 3-1 game. And then the third inning, Zack Wheeler really found himself into some trouble, giving up the leadoff double to Chisholm. Then De La Cruz steps up there and he works a walk. Berger grounds into the 6-4 force out. Berger is safe at first. Sosa couldn't get the ball out of his mitt. I don't think that would have mattered. If you watched the game yesterday, I think they said on the broadcast that they could have turned to. Berger is not fleet of foot. Let me acknowledge that. But still, that little hiccup by Sosa at short, I don't think equaled, 2 steps on Berger. And Berger beat that play by a lot. So I don't think they would have turned 2 if Sosa would have fielded that ball cleanly. But then you had a first and second with 1 out situation, a first and third with 1 out, and Josh Bell steps to the plate, works the count to a 3-1 count, and Zack Wheeler delivers a cut fastball that cut on out of the ballpark. 411 feet center field that Josh Bell just tattooed. Very, very simple. Next thing you know, 4-3, Phillies are now losing. Fourth inning, they had a couple of more runs. Bethencourt gets a sac bunt RBI. Chisholm gets the RBI triple on a 2-2 fastball that was up in the zone that he tomahawked into the outfield. It was a 6-3 game. So after the Phillies went up 3-0, the Marlins go up 6-3. And then the Phillies are able to fight back in the 6th inning a little bit. Sosa comes up with a 2-run triple, made it a 6-5 ball game, got a 1-2 slider that just stayed up in the zone, and he was able to wrap that down the left field line. And then Brandon Marsh came up there with the sac fly RBI to center field, and Sosa, that brought Sosa home. After that, that was it for the Phillies, offensively speaking. There was one opportunity for the Phillies to get on the board again a little bit earlier in the game, and it was after Bell hit the home run. And I thought for sure at this point they were going to tie the game at 4-4, especially with the way they've been hitting. Bryson Stott led off the fourth inning, with a double. And then on a weird sac bunt attempt there by Edmundo Sosa that went right back to Braxton. He just turned and threw Braxton Garrett. He threw Stott out at second base, so that wasted the leadoff double opportunity. Phillies were able to get something going there in the 6th inning, as I just laid out for you there. And then the 10th inning, just womp, womp. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Pretty terrible after that. So now the Phillies are going to go face the New York Mets for a split 4-game series. 2 in Flushing starting tonight at 7:10, and then 2 in Philadelphia. As far as Zack Wheeler, he had gone through his last 4 starts, I think it was 1 earned run. So he was on fire. And then he gets this start tonight, or yesterday afternoon. He goes 4 innings, allowing 6 runs on 6 hits and issues 3 walks. So I think the 80 pitches, by the way, through 4 innings of work. So I think it begs the question, what the hell happened? First question that was asked of him yesterday after the game was, hey, you had Garrett Stubbs behind home plate. What's going on there? Was a little miscommunication. Here's Zack Wheeler, courtesy NBC Sports Philadelphia.
I mean, kind of, but I mean, it is what it is. I've thrown to JT all the time, but it's not the end of the world, and we're both on the same page for the most part. It's just different scenarios where I like to do certain things, and he's just not used to it. So this isn't on Stubby at all. It's on me, and I've thrown a lot of balls. 3 or 4 walks, whatever it was, and so I mean that's just on me.
Do you feel like there's a reason for the command or control issues?
No, I felt great. Nothing felt out of whack. So I had a hard time trying to fix it just because I didn't feel anything. Most of the time when you're doing that kind of stuff, you feel something like you're pulling off or something like that, and you can try to make the adjustment. But I felt great today. Just barely missing. And then I was watching in here. I was frustrated when I was out there, but I think most of those balls were off, and he wasn't giving anything, which is fine. He just call them strikes, balls. So, just sometimes we aren't used to that, and we get a little frustrated out there, especially when things are going wrong. So, yeah.
Let me just say, I really do like the acknowledgement of something wrong without it being an excuse. Like some people that might be like, I'm just making excuses. No, he's like, hold on. You're going to ask me about Garrett Stubbs. I'm going to give you an honest answer. If you don't work with somebody a lot, there might be a little miscommunication. One of my favorite examples is David Akers. David Akers had Coy Detmer as a holder for years, and then all of a sudden he didn't have him anymore, and then the Eagles had to bring him back. And it was like, this is a big deal. And David Akers described it as when you tell, like the communication and the wavelength they were on was, if I tell Coy Detmer, hey, I needed a little bit in this situation, a little bit to the right. Like you angle the ball a little bit to the right when you're holding it. He knows what that little bit is. Like I thought that was such a brilliant way to explain it, because everyone can understand that. With people that you just vibe with, it just makes sense. Maybe there's not that vibe. Maybe it just doesn't make sense with Zack Wheeler and Garrett Stubbs. And that's to be expected. You have a backup catcher that rarely plays. And then you have a guy that's known as the best catcher in baseball. So, yeah, I can understand why there might be a little vibing. Might not be as great, right? And I like the fact that he doesn't say, oh, yeah, well, Garrett and I, it's really tough to get on the same page. And then he's like, some guys would drag that out. He's like, no, look, there's no excuse. And then they move on to something else. They go, well, what about the strike zone with Riggs? What was going on there? And it's just like, yeah, no, he was calling balls, and he was calling strikes. And I like that. Because, again, it's not, oh, no, I deserve those calls. And this is I am Zack Wheeler. I am a gold glove. And I have a wonderful ERA and a beautifully, freshly shaven bald head. I should get these calls. No. Does he do that? He doesn't make excuses. He acknowledges this is all on him. And he just didn't. He said he felt great. I was waiting for, my elbow didn't feel great, or my back was a little stiff today. I don't know what that was. Slept on it wrong, whatever. I was waiting for something. He said, nope, felt great. So after listening to him talk about Garrett Stubbs, everything, we got to get on the same page, but it is what it is. It's on me. That's what he said. It's on me. After listening to it, he felt great. Okay, fine. After listening to the strike zone being the strike zone, okay, fine. The strike zone. Here's what I deduce. Here's what I get out of Zack Wheeler's start yesterday. And I hate it. And I don't like that I'm going to tell you this, but this is what happened yesterday. Ready? Baseball. Baseball happened yesterday. There is no way in hell that Zack Wheeler faces the Marlins, for crying out loud, and gets shelled for his worst start of the season. One of his worst starts as a Philly. There's no way. There's only one way, actually, and you know what that way is? Baseball. Baseball happened yesterday. I was waiting for something legit. There's nothing legit other than they just got him. That 3-1 cutter to Josh Bell, that Josh Bell looked at like a lion looking at a pork chop. He tattooed that baseball. And that's pretty much all she wrote. As far as the walks go, 3 walks yesterday, 6 hits. Obviously not great. But I'm going to go ahead and venture to guess this is not the norm for Zack Wheeler. And this is not going to be the norm for Zack Wheeler. This is just this is baseball, unfortunately. Also, how about this? 12 pitchers used throughout yesterday's game. Braxton Garrett went 5 1/3, 5 runs on 5 hits, walked 2. He struck out 8. Another thing with Zack Wheeler, he only struck out 2. Kirkering came in. Spencer Turnbull, good God. Spencer Turnbull was throwing wiffle balls. He was great, obviously, throughout his starts. I don't know if him getting more used to the bullpen is allowing him to just kind of unleash the hounds, unleash fury. But his, what was it? His sweeper? It was a wiffle ball. He was throwing wiffle balls up there yesterday. He gave you an inning, gave up 1 hit, but struck out 2. Jose Alvarado, scoreless inning. Matt Strahm struck out the side in his inning. Jeff Hoffman handled the business except giving up a walk and then got a strikeout, 11 pitches in his inning. And then Gregory Soto came in and wah, wah. So that's the way that went down yesterday in Miami. I know that these Marlins aren't a good team. I know the Mets aren't a good team. They had a big win yesterday. They avoided the no-hitter, the no-hit bid. If you're a believer in no-hitters, such things as combined no-hitters, they avoid that against the Braves in Game 2 of the 3-game series in Flushing. And then yesterday, they're able to get the walk-off win with Brandon Nimmo coming up with the big hit there in the 9th, I think it was. Did they go in the extras yesterday? That's going to bother me if I don't know that. So bottom line is the Braves lost 2. Yeah, it was the 9th inning. Brandon Nimmo walked that off in the 9th inning with a 2-run home run. Okay. So they win over the Braves 4-3. They're 19-20 on the season. Just keep winning series. Keep winning series. I don't know, and I would love to find this out, and I'm sure this will come up sooner rather than later. The Phillies haven't lost a series since the 2nd series of the season. They've split a couple series at worst, a couple 4-game sets, the Reds and the Pirates, but they haven't lost a series. I would love to know the last time the Phillies went over a month without losing a series. I'd love to know what the longest streak is for the Phillies. I'm sure that'll come up sooner rather than later for the Phillies, especially if they keep winning. So that's what went down with the Phillies last night. That's what went down in baseball last night. NBA playoffs. I don't like actively rooting against a team after they knock my team out, but I do enjoy watching the Knicks flounder. And the Pacers, oh my goodness gracious, put them over their knee yesterday. If you didn't see what went down in yesterday's game, it was pretty spectacular. The Indiana Pacers have found a way. Either Jalen Brunson's just off or they're just shutting him down. And all the while, TJ McConnell is playing himself some basketball, people. But yesterday, the Pacers beat the Knicks 121-89. Pacers jumped out to a 34-14, so a 20-point first quarter lead, and then they just took control of the game from that point on. It was a thing of beauty. And I'm not one that seeks out rooting against a team that knocked mine out, but, in this case, it's kind of easy because the Knicks were just, they were the Knicks, and they got some help from the officials in that series, especially game 2. But also actively rooting for TJ McConnell, who came off the bench to knock down 2 threes, had 15 points for you. And they didn't really go nuts. Tyrese Halliburton only had 20 points in that game. But here's the story. Jalen Brunson, 6 for 17 for 18 points. Not great for Jalen Brunson. That series now knotted up at 2 games apiece. And staying in the world of basketball, This came out, I think it was Friday afternoon. LeBron James and JJ Redick are doing a podcast, and they're talking about Tyrese Maxey. And LeBron James comes out and just talks about how Tyrese Maxey does not get tired. Hearing LeBron James talk about Tyrese Maxey and how special a player he is, really, it really does. Like, I was talking about it with Joel Embiid when he was out during the season, and the Sixers still had a whole bunch of like nationally televised games, and like Tyrese Maxey is the show. It's Tyrese Maxey versus whoever. You know, Tyrese Maxey in the 76ers. Now, you might say, well, who else is it going to be? He's an all-star, you know? Well, he wasn't an all-star yet at this point. And you could look at Tobias Harris with a big contract. You could look at Kelly Oubre, who's still got a name in the NBA. But it was the Tyrese Maxey show, as it should be. I'm not saying like, oh, it should have been Tobias Harris or anything like that. I'm just saying for him to get that notoriety is great. And then next up is hearing guys like all-time greats talk about him with respect and how much they respect his game and respect his motor. LeBron James, for instance. I know some people might reach for the idea of LeBron James coming to Philadelphia. If you're telling me LeBron James is on the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm not upset about it. I'm pretty happy about it. If LeBron James can come to Philadelphia and be the number 3 guy behind Joel Embiid, behind Tyrese Maxey, I'm pretty excited. And for all the people that want to look at him as a 39-year-old, look, congratulations, you know how old he is, but damn, that guy can still play basketball. And if he doesn't have to be the guy, oh my goodness gracious. Shoot some threes, play some defense, get some rebounds, get some assistances. Oh, yeah, I'm not mad. You know, go draw that conclusion. Because the more we go into this, like, here's the thing. I think, like, LeBron James, I don't have to question whether or not he wants to win. Paul George, injury factor. I know he wants to stay in Los Angeles. And as Keith Pompey warned us last week, you got to be careful about the Sixers name being thrown out there a lot in negotiations, because a lot of teams, the Sixers are interested and they're going to pay me because they got the money. So you better pay me, LA Clippers in this case. But if it's LeBron James and he wants to come to Philadelphia, I feel pretty good about that. My only concern is the rest of the team. How do you afford the rest of the team? That's a little problem. A lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, really, any big time, whether it's Paul George, whether it's LeBron James, any big time free agent or trade that you bring in with maybe a renegotiated contract or anything like that, anything like that, that's where I look at it and go, how do you fill out the rest of the roster? Because one thing that absolutely has to happen is you have to have a damn good backup center. You can't have Joel Embiid leave the floor and then all of a sudden the tornado starts and you blink and it's a 10-0 run and your backup center is a minus 11 or whatever. Like, that just can't happen. And I was having this conversation with some out of market people, non-Sixers people, and it's just like, I long for the days of Andre Drummond. And you guys have heard me say that before. And one of the things Keith Pompey did tell us is maybe they go after Drummond again. I'll cross my fingers. About that. Hey, so the Phillies have 2 games in New York. And the Phillies have 2 games in New York. And then they got 2 games in Philadelphia. So in a couple days, Phillies will be back in South Philadelphia. If you want to go to the game, have you downloaded the Game Time app to your phone? To get your tickets, download the Game Time app. Use promo code Farzi when you create an account and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. So if you want to go to the game, download the Game Time app. You can view your seat before you buy it. You have no surprise money at the end of it. So it's not like, hey, those $20 tickets are now $40. What the hell? No, that's not happening on the Game Time app. So you have all-in pricing. So take advantage of all they have to offer, including their last-minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals. And how about this? If you're going to a comedy show, a concert, whatever the case may be, you want to save some money, but you also want to make sure you see that big-name act, your favorite act. Might miss the opener, you might miss the middle, but you won't miss the headliner when it comes to the Game Time app and selling tickets still an hour after the event starts for mega huge Kajunga savings. The Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about the amazing people at MyBookie? MyBookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone. Create an account. Use promo code Farzy. Get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus with MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. They got everything for the world of basketball when it comes to the playoffs, the baseball season, everything at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing. April, good morning. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Sean Kilray, good morning. Daniel, good morning. April, got to go to the Outer Banks for the weekend, so Mother's Day was great. That's great, April. The Outer Banks. Where was I? Corolla? Is that a place? Duck. I've heard of Duck. Corolla, I believe, is where I was. Corolla? Corolla. Corolla? I don't know. I had an espresso in Corolla. I know that. From a nice Italian gentleman at his pizza shop. It was a Lavazza espresso machine that looked like it hasn't been used since like the 40s. And I was like, that thing work? And he's like, see. And he wipes the cobwebs off of it. Nice little espresso shop. Anyway, that's the story. Anyway, Sean Kilrain, Zack Wheeler didn't have it yesterday. But I know a rebound from it. There you go. Yeah, baseball. Sean, I'm with you. That kid was a player at Texas A&M. Doesn't shy away. Ainias Smith will be fun, Farzy. Small, but packs a punch. Love it. James Alexander, good morning. We should be 13-4 this upcoming season. Well, James, thanks for spoiling it. I was going to watch the whole season, but now that I know they're right. No, just kidding. James, that's great. I see no. Look, I got to look at how the schedule plays out in terms of road trips, all that stuff, and they'll end the season against whoever. Hopefully, the Cowboys. But yeah, I think this is at worst. At worst, I think this is an 11-win team. 13 would be great, but they're in that range. And also, you can't forget about the end of the season collapse. That's going to happen. No, I'm just kidding. Get your popcorn ready, says Sean Kilrain. Come this Wednesday, Farzy, in the words of T.O. Absolutely. I am giddy. This is how you know the NFL's really got you. You're just really excited for the schedule to come out. Andrew Dirk, what's going on? Morning. Philly is going to have an 11-6 season. At worst, Andrew. Stephen Florida. I don't know. Eagles are a top 5 team in the league. They'll be okay. I concur. Got to know the rules. What are the rules? Are you talking about Christian Pache? I agree. But it's like, I'll put it to you like this. You can know the rules. Like, I know that if I put a quarter, I don't know, it's been a minute since I put a quarter in a parking, being a suburban dad now, it's been a minute since I put a quarter in a parking meter, but it was 8 minutes. In my day, it was 8 minutes. Now it's probably like 5. But if you come back after 9 minutes and you have a ticket, you're like, what the hell? Like, obviously you knew the rule, but can I get a little wiggle room? I've had PPA people scurry. I'll use that word. Scurry away from me. I've seen them at my car, just about to put the ticket on. I hit the button, so they know I'm coming. And they're like, avoid conflict. Not that I was going to do anything. I don't know what I got to do. All right, fight me. No, I wasn't going to do that. Tickle fight. Gonna know the rules. Yes, but I agree. C24. Good morning, Farzy. Good morning, C24. C24, you look like Sirianni. Add it to the list, folks. C24 thinks I look like Nick Sirianni. One of the many. One of the many. Yes, I do look like Nixon. I look like his bald younger brother. I'm younger by a year. Okay? So don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. April. You're crazy if you think LeBron will go anywhere knowing he's going to be the number 3. Well, April, I think we've established many times over, I'm nuts. Secondly, LeBron can still, like, for instance, who's going to get the last shot at the end of a game? It's going to be somebody that can create space. It's not going to, I'll tell you this, it's going to be between LeBron and Maxey. It's not going to be Embiid. If it's like a 1 second situation or less than a second, get Embiid by the basket and get something happening there. When I talk about a number 3, you're talking about an MVP candidate, which LeBron James has not been for a long time, and Joel Embiid is. And you're talking about Tyrese Maxey, who's a all-star already and still on the rise, and LeBron James, who's kind of winding things down a little bit. So, what's the path here? You draft Bronny. Bronny's going to go where LeBron tells the NBA Bronny's going. So either way, that's the way that's going to shake out. But as far as him being a number 2, or excuse me, number 3, that what I don't like. That's what it would be here in Philly. And he wouldn't have to be on ball nearly as much. And I think he would like that. It's the same reason that I thought LeBron James, it would be a good fit in Philly with LeBron James still when Ben Simmons was here. And it would have been LeBron, Simmons, and Embiid. That still would have been a good fit because as that team got older, especially Joel Embiid, and that team got better, and LeBron's skills started to diminish, there'd be a nice little transition of power. Now the transition of power can already happen. Here we go, Sean Kilrain. The NBA is rigged. You watch Bronny goes to LA. Shaq said it himself. Stern asked where you want to pay. Yeah. Where you want to play at, warm or cold weather. His response, warm, and ended up in Orlando. That's funny. Oh, you're talking about back in the day with Shaq. Yeah. I want to be near Disney. How about that Shaq's, the story of his his ex-wife? I never loved him, and then he said it was taken out of context. Like, that's cold, man. Why you gotta do Shaq dirty like that, lady? Handsome Hustler, great name. Handsome Hustler 88. What's going on? Good morning. April. We were in Duck. Good guess. That's where the people go, man. That's where the people go. Now we have people debating whether or not I'm related to Nick Sirianni. He definitely does, says Tim M. CZ, DNA test needed. I did find out, this might be a little too in the weeds, folks, but I did find out that his family, the Italian portion of his family, I don't know if he's 100%, like I'm 50% Italian. I don't know if he's 100% Italian or not, but he is also Calabrese, which for those that don't know is a region of Italy that my family also comes from. So who knows? Maybe we're cousins. I don't know. Thanks everybody in the chat. Check, you guys are great as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies and Mets started off tonight, 7:10 start time in Flushing, New York. The Mets 19-20 on the season, as I mentioned earlier. They'll get this split 4-game series underway tonight with Christopher Sanchez on the hill against Sean Manaea. Christopher Sanchez 2-3 on the season with a 3.22 ERA. Manaea 22-1 on the season with a 3.31 ERA. A lefty versus lefty matchup. Divisional games are always funny games. Divisional games are always games that are supposed to be tough games. Phillies should have swept Miami Marlins, but unfortunately, they're one of their aces when they got 3 aces, maybe 4. Taijuan Walker also got a start over the weekend. We'll get to that in a second. But one of the things with the Phillies is they always need that one pitcher to be able to pull them out of a little bit of a rut. One game, certainly not a rut, but when you're facing another divisional opponent, one that is a sub-500 team, you want a pitcher like Christopher Sanchez to go out there and handle his business. So we'll take on the Mets tonight. Christopher Sanchez is coming off that start that he had against the Toronto Blue Jays, where he was just dominant, one of his best starts ever. You never see Christopher Sanchez make it into the 7th inning, and he made it into the 7th inning in that 10-1 win. Did he have wiggle room with the offense? He absolutely had wiggle room thanks to the offense. But seeing him get into that 7th inning, only allowing 1 run on 6 hits, walking 2, and I want to say very efficient 89 pitches off the top of my head, if I'm not mistaken. Let me load up. 89 pitches. Look at that. Steel trap, that memory of mine. And he'll go up against Manaea tonight. Manaea is coming off. Of course. Instant research, folks. Manaea is coming off that thing that he did, the other thing against the other guy. Against the start against St. Louis, where he went 6 innings, allowing 3 runs on 6 hits and issuing 1 walk. And that's the way that shook out. It was a winning effort for the Mets in that game against St. Louis, where they won 4-3. So that's how that went down. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe and all that fun stuff. To the Farzy Show YouTube channel, make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And one more for you. Tonight, after the Mets and Phillies, I'll be doing a Locked On Sports Philadelphia postcast, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you log on and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia's YouTube channel as well, where yours truly will be there. And then right after that, busy night for me tonight after 7 o'clock. I got the Phillies game, got the Phillies postcast, and then right after that, I scurry on over to Fox 29, where I'll be hanging out with the Fox 29 crew on the Fantastic Sports Show. So look forward to doing that as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. I'll see you guys tonight and then tomorrow morning.